So you're now talk again. So you're definitely now on the right channel for voice chat. So yeah. Oh, okay. You're definitely there. So is my stream offline? Am I live? Hey. Got it. So it says I'm live, but my stream is offline. Oh, I'm just gonna refresh this thing. Yeah, there we go. So now I want to when everyone's settled, I should be able to hear everybody. I heard Nick earlier. I heard you. Okay. So the stream's running. I just want to make sure everyone can see the stream. Should see a bunch of knobs.
Also, Nick, if you download Unreal, freaking get the free interface all time.
Oh.
Oh.
Sorry. No problem.
Can you hear us now? Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, so I was saying, you should download the free Unreal Marketplace assets because every month they have like a free giveaway of like five assets around there, and yeah, dude, like they're worth it every month. So it's free.
So first thing I want to do, since everyone has Discord, is everyone running this Discord on their phone or their computer? Got it. So try sharing your screen with me.
Could we share screens at the same time?
Yes, you can. I only need a basic thing because what if I want details that are clear, I can go use ShareX. So what I'm trying to see now is, yeah, so I think this is Haczar's, or this is Nick's. Okay, so I'm seeing Nick's screen.
How come it's only telling me screen one?
See if there's a drop down. Let me see if I can bring a drop down up. Screen one. Oh, you're right. Oh, scroll down. Scroll down.
Oh, yes, bro. Yes. Lord.
Okay, so we got both screens I can see now. All right, so perfect. So yeah, for this first session, I'm mostly I'll start the stopwatch as soon as it hits 9, I guess. We'll do that hour. I already know that you guys have Discord screen sharing working. I don't really think we'll need to use it. Yeah, because I don't think we're going to get to, I don't even know if we'll finish installing everything by the time this is done, because what I want to make sure everything's clear with is we have, I explained the entire thing first. We're not going to even touch anything until I explain everything. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the same raw notes that I did before, except I'm going to be making them nicer, I guess you could say. Because the old ass ones are a little bit updated because I've learned a fuck ton, so. And that's something else I'm going to tell you is, with the notes, I'm going to tell you my limits, where I am, so you guys know where the fuck ups could be. So there will be that. So let's see. I guess we'll start with that. So first off, let me get Notepad open. We're just going to make a new text doc and start with that. Literally. And then see if I can bring that out. No. There we go. So yeah, this is going to be the TBFC meta. And our purpose is this, which that can keep the same purpose. So there's going to be 3 things. You're mainly going to be doing the C programming language. So that's this. But in order to do C programming language, you're inherently going to have, well, you're going to inherently know what you're doing with programming, which you kind of probably already do. Well, Haczar definitely does. And then what a language essentially is, so that could either be a programming language, math language, your human language, whatever, which will help. Trust me, knowing exactly what the fuck that is will help you. And then the last thing that people really don't realize is that this part right here, because when you do programming or anything else that's really rigorous like this, you get a mental tool set that helps you with everything else. It's the same reason people force you to learn math to an extent. It basically gives you a new operating system for your brain. So, yeah. Hopefully, yeah. So there's base. So let me start this. So that's the purpose. Let me change that thing.
Wait, can you give me a new link to your screen? 'Cause I think
It's not. Is that link not working? I don't know.
are you streaming?
Oh, I am.
Yeah. Yeah, the one I had ended at like the beginning of the call.
Damn it! It did refresh it. All right, let me delete this one. That's. Yeah, I'm not sharing through Discord. I have a nicer stream going on right now, so you just got to go on that.
Yeah, just goes the link.
It should be popping up now. All right, so yeah, so I'm writing it out just that there's no extra information you can dot your I's on for now. Trying to keep that accurate. So basically, the way I'm gonna be basically going over this is using for learning, I guess, is my favorite stuff, obviously. So I'm gonna be doing top-down style. I've been doing that since high school. I never will stop doing that. I basically gave up on bottom-up so long ago. Something else called a constructive paradigm. So constructive is basically you build upon foundation stuff. So you think they do this, they really don't. If you actually look into it, there's two reasons why. Either the field you're doing it in doesn't really have a clear foundation yet because they're still trying to figure it out. You can kind of say that about math, but they have something down already that they should have told you. Or they either that or they just don't want to bother because they can get away with it. So I guess the most famous example of this is something called Euclid's postulates or something like that. Yeah, it's basically telling you all the rules to doing 2D line math with only 5 rules, and then you can build off of those. So that's kind of like the shit we're going to be doing. Passive memorization. So unlike any other class or whatever that you do, there's no fucking flashcards. If you can't use Google, you're fucked. You don't have to memorize anything. You just have to know how to use it as soon as you remember it. It's project based. So this entire thing is going to be on a single project. For Haczar, this can get done probably within 3 months if he puts extra time, because he already has some background in programming. For you, Nick, this can take 4 to 6 months, depending on how much background you have. For Justin, for example, I would say a definite 6 because he came from biology, so he had nothing related to programming. So it all depends on how much, at least, you've gotten beforehand. So.
Yeah, like what have you done so far? I don't have any projects or anything. I'm just like studying theory, I guess. Like I studied some Python, Java.
Which might help. Yeah, that can probably shave off a month or 2, so I wouldn't be surprised. It just depends on how fast we get through things. But I might have to unlearn a little few things that they do in Java and Python. For example, yeah. So the next thing, I'm just gonna put out there the related math. I'm not gonna go directly into the math. I'm just gonna explicitly say what it is, and that's the type theory, category, and group theory are arguably the foundations of math. The way you can find this is on Wikipedia. Just type in type theory, I guess. Yeah. And again, you don't have to know this notation and shit. Just be able to pick off. It kind of goes too deep for basic stuff, but this first intro right here is enough pretty much. And then you can go, if you want to go into it, the only thing I gotta say is you could literally learn all of programming without doing any programming because it's all math based. Yes. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. You can do all of maths. You can learn all of math. I mean, all of this math shit, and you will learn how to build your own programming language from it to do the programming if you needed to. That's how rigorized they've done in mathematics, because that's where it came from in the first place. All your first programmers were mathematicians. They fucking did the math, and then they told some lady in the fucking attic to wire up some cables for them to make the memory thing, and they'll be like, don't worry about why that cable goes like that. Just do it for me so I can do this shit already. That's actually pretty accurate. I'm not even joking. Okay, so that's that thing. You can find, again, category theory. It's all there. I need to put in theory or else it doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. There we go. So that's this stuff. Again, doesn't look anything like how we use categories in programming languages because it's not practical to write things this way. And group theory is the last thing, and it's kind of the this is the last one you would need to learn. So this is sequential. You would learn type theory first if you really wanted to, then category theory because it uses type theory, and then group theory. I also said set theory here because you can technically do type theory, but using some more bare bones stuff, but more rules because of it, and it's harder to keep track of things if you did it without what's called the type system. And then group theory is something that would pop up from both of them, and this is where the algebra starts getting invented and all that other shit, and it can get pretty nasty. And technically I say only algebra, but to me, algebra and geometry are the same thing. It's just that one's visual based and the other one's symbol based. So I'm not joking when I say that algebra, you can do all of algebra and geometry and vice versa. Literally. So that's why every time they show you a picture in any math class, they have a graph. Yeah, they're trying to describe the graph in symbol form so they can fuck with it or understand what's going on under the hood so they can make something else do it. That's basically algebra, converting geometry to algebra. So there's that. So that's 7 minutes in. It's not bad. Software we're going to be using, 3 things. Either Visual Studio 2019 or if you already have it, 2017. ShareX. So ShareX is basically this thing. See how I can highlight my screen? I can also draw shit on it. I can draw arrows. I can put a happy face. There we go. And I can take a nice, beautiful screenshot of the screenshot. Take a GIF of it while it's running. Have my fucking mouse run over it. And then I can send you it at the same time. So then I can go in here. So let me put that right there. And then that should be a GIF that's moving. Like, here's a screenshot. Look how fast I can do this. This is the reason I'm giving you it, because this is the best way to screen cap something that you need to figure out without having to even load up a Discord sharing thing. So when I send you off to what I call my letting you loose, I guess you can say. Let me see if I can find it from the other TBF. It's I have a meme pic for it already. So basically, when we get to a certain point, I'm gonna let you loose to do an objective, and you should have enough things to get you going, and then basically you're gonna be in the water, and I'm just gonna give you cornflakes to help you out. So yeah, that's basically how it's gonna work. So yeah, ShareX is that. You already have Discord, so you already have one of the 3. And resources is going to be me, Google, and C-Reference. So if you haven't used Stack Overflow, that's basically what Google is going to give you. So you're going to be asking how to do something in C, memory or something like that, probably gonna see Stack Overflow eventually pop up, or you know how you'll fucking see it. Let's go over link 2019. Fucking hate. Oh. There we go. That'll pop it up right there. That's one example. You'll be looking up some compile error, and let's say I'm not available. You'll be here all the fucking time. This is Haczar, one of Haczar's best friends right here. Okay, let's go to C reference. So C reference, I'll give you the link to it. You can just look at, you can find it that way, but we're looking, this is the CPP site. There's technically, this is the CPP reference, but we're restricting it only to C because we're not doing CPP. So this basically has the whole entire language documentation, front and back, everything's there. The other thing you're going to be using, but I'm going to be making with you, is basically TBF Assist, and it's basically this file library that we're going to make that basically renames a few things. So like there's some keywords in here that are absolutely cancer for what they do. So const is one. That's my favorite one, this piece of shit. We're going to be renaming that using something called macros, which are going to be your best friend, because a C is too much of a pain in the ass otherwise.
Are we going to go into detail enough to be like, this is...
You're going to use, the worst thing you're going to make in C is, in this project, if you want to go there, it depends on, you can stop, I'm going to cut off, after you finish the project and you make everything class-based, I'm going to stop there and say you basically learned enough. From here, I'm going to show you how to make it multi-threaded. And if you don't want to go there and make it more efficient and start learning Python, I'm perfectly fine with that. Because honestly, once you make, in fact, it can only be, you only have to make the one thing class-based. You don't have to even make all of them class-based. Just the one, you have to just turn one of the modules of the engine into a class. And if you don't know what I mean by that, Nick, don't worry. I'm basically just telling you where you can technically stop, because you don't have to do the entire thing. Because at that point, basically every higher programming language should be a joke to you. And what I mean by that is it's going to be basically all other higher level languages except for functional programming are basically the same shit rehashed but made easier, or they do stuff for you. So like it should literally take you a week or two to learn Python, and after you've done this is what I'm trying to say. JavaScript a week, Ruby a week, fucking Crystal a week, maybe a week and a half because it has some stuff. Rust should be like maybe a month, because it does a few things a little bit differently from C, and it's just as complicated. It's just as low level as C. C++, no, that's gonna be a pain in the ass because it has a lot of extra shit. You want to see how much extra shit? It's all this bundle of stuff that's above C. Lots and lots of other stuff. It's definitely like a super add-on to C. So yeah, that's why we're only restricting ourselves to this. Java, only a couple weeks to get going. C# only a couple weeks to get going after you learn C. Yeah, again, all of the object-oriented stuff starts at C, because you can technically do what's called object-oriented in C. You just don't have it from the get-go. It's not obvious. So that's going off a little bit on a tangent, but we still have plenty of time. So what can you do after you do this project, essentially? You become overlord of your computer. Literally, like, I'm not fucking joking, because as soon as you do this, you literally know how memory works. So long as you know how the stack setup works on your OS, or you learn the OS API, you can tell your OS to go fuck yourself and fuck around with it. You could destroy the operating system, but you shouldn't do that. But you won't have full control, because the OS still has stuff to deal with, unless you made your own OS from scratch, but then you would have to learn assembly. But I'm not going to go over assembly. So now that I did that, I guess I'll go into what is C. But so C is obviously a programming language. So why did they put language at the end here? The reason is because they don't really. It's definitely a language, but what's a language? So language is basically a system for information communication or like processing, where you use a restricted set of symbols that have a certain degree of freedom to communicate information. At least it doesn't have to be logical, because human language is mostly not logical. For example, it just has to say it has to communicate something. So I guess before you have raw information, you have your senses, right? And I guess your first hardcore information language would be like your instincts. So it automatically translates. If you see human blood or like smell human blood, for example, your heart should start pumping without you realizing it. So that's like level. I'll call that like level 0, because it's not really a language yet. It's just like your instincts and stuff. After that, you get your human language. And that can be really shitty to pretty decent. So where we are now, that's like a few thousand years later. Keep in mind, like Latin didn't even have commas and punctuation. So yeah, we came a long way. Then you got your kind of like, where I have this somewhere. Hold on. Because I want to like, I don't want to rehash or like fuck up somewhere that I already wrote this down for. I think it's in here. I have to go up a bit. Okay. Yeah, okay. So there's 3 components to this, by the way. You got your visual, which is your symbols. Where's the other one? Auditory. Programming languages don't really use this unless you're blind. And you could do touch, but we don't really use that either, unless you're blind. So those would, yeah, this is the way you can build a human language with. So we don't really use the last 2, but we use the symbol one a lot and the visual one, so we can see the words with the symbols and you can hear it. We use that one a lot, but we don't really use that in the programming one, unless someone's talking to you, and that's it. But you don't really use it for the talking to the computer, which I'm gonna get to. I'm just looking for something here. So from here you can get a third order, I guess you could say, which is like it's like a level 1.5. So what you can do is you can use metaphors and shit. And they used to do this in ancient times because they couldn't say that what they actually wanted to say, because if they did, they'll get their heads cut off. And this is basically like compressing information. From there we get we can use the symbol stuff and what we know from human languages and our senses to make what's called like level 2, I guess you could say. And that's like music notation, math, all this stuff is level 2. And the reason it's level 2 is because you can use the human language to build a brand new language that's not directly related to it. It's completely for its own thing. So from there, still looking through it. From the math one specifically, you get, I guess, what you can call a programming language. So basically we use some stuff from math to make this thing, and those things are what I showed you here. So they use these things here, and when they know from linguistics, from studying human languages, to make a new language. And what the programming language lets you do is lets you make an unconscious object like a computer, because it technically doesn't have high level consciousness, and it lets you have it do logical things for you automatically. And that can get so complicated to the point that I have a fucking screen sharing device showing you how to code, and a mixer and a notepad at the same time, running at the same time. And that's not even the most complicated thing you can do. So that's basically where your programming language sits. They basically use that to hardware a system. So you got hardware that's hardwired to work based on these things right here, right? And then that hardware system can run basically what's called an opcode. So that and this is all to get to where the languages is. So I'm kind of deconstructing right now. So I'm deconstructing what programming is down to the bare bones here for just a split second. So yeah, they'll have this, and they'll have it split a little bit, and this could be, for example, adding. So they'll have an operation here that means something logically that will do something for you. So this will be the operation code. This will be what you wanted to add to this maybe, and this is where you're going to store it, something like that. But this is not readable by a person, so they'll convert this to this. Okay, and that's assembly. This is not practical to use. Number one, because the shit looks like a mess. Almost assembly because of what they decide to do design-wise, due to influence from businessmen and other reasons, legacy-wise. So back in the 80s and 70s, people got tired of this shit, and they had fast enough computers that they can basically translate back and forth from this shit to some macro thing, which you'll find out what macros are in a moment. And they basically made C. So C made that into this. So that's way easier to read, way easier to figure out what the fuck's going on. And it translated really fast to assembly, and then the computer could use it. So think of, if we have the raw thing here, which is the hardware opcode. So you can think of the hardware language as the baseline, I guess, instruction system. So your basic rule set of what you can do. Assembly is basically like a shorthand version of that. So instead of counting with only oranges, they use the number 5 for 5 oranges instead. So that's assembly right here. And then once you got to C, they added some extra macro shit. So like if you wanted to do some, I don't know, compound expressions and stuff like that. So they basically added some rules like plus and minus to it. Essentially, that's when you get to C. I guess that's the best allegory I can give to where that is. So yeah, you go from the metal to that, and that's where it lies. And then from C, they basically get everything else. Can you do can you translate the assembly to something different than C? Yeah, they have. It's called functional programming. That goes closer to what math likes to do traditionally. And you have some other stuff that came before C that kind of sucks shit, so they made C. There used to be a language called A, and they literally made another language called B, and they were like, oh, what should our next language be? Well, we should just call it C. So they stopped there though. Well, they didn't. There's a language called D, but no one cared about it. So, yeah, they just stopped there. So, let me see the original notes. So yeah, that's what C is here. Let me get out. So, technically speaking, they could have cleaned this up by making something called unassembly, but that never was made. So they skipped to this, and the C was made to standardize like a universal way of doing assembly level stuff. That's that's still easier to use than assembly. And they also did it as the official language for something called Unix operating system. So you have to keep that in mind, because a lot of these stuff that C has comes from this bullshit era when it was used as an operating system. And that's one of its quirks. So if you see some bullshit happen, yeah, it might be for a 30-year-old reason that they didn't want to change because of standardization. So what we're going to be using on top of C is what comes with it automatically on any compiler, and that's a standard library. And that's basically a bunch of stuff that people already programmed for you that just use too much for you to bother to keep making. So they made a standard version, technically speaking. Could you make your own? Yeah. I kind of did for some stuff because their way of doing is shit. but it's there if you don't want to. And we're going to be using, we're not going to be using C directly, I guess you can say. We're going to be using C++, but only the C side of C++ within Visual Studio, because Visual Studio, the Microsoft Visual C++ or VCS or VSC or something like that, comes from their C++ compiler. So if you wanted to program in C in Windows, the only other way would be to download something called MinGW, get like Eclipse, and it's a bitch. So you're better off just using something that still supports up to C99 pretty much. Some of C11, which is a version of C. They have different standard versions. You'll see the little green here as an example. They update it every once in a while to fix shit that they fucked up before or to add something new. So like they added threading in 2011, and in C99 they added type generic math, all that kind of shit. So that's what we're going to be specifically using. So we're basically going to be using a C++, but not really, just C from it. So that's C. That's basically all of C that you need to know. So that's the language. I gave you the math side of things. I gave you where C comes from literally from scratch. And here's basically the project. So the project's a game engine. It's text-based. We're gonna be not strings. I don't know why I put that there. It's gonna be, the render is text-based. What that means is instead of using pixels for your sprites, you're gonna be using letters or any text symbol from the ASCII code. The reason you do that is because text is easier to deal with, and we can use console right off the bat than it would be to use a pixel render like OpenGL, because that's a whole different kind of words that you don't want to open. So yeah, there's that. And then there's the input system. I don't know why the input system is you're gonna have an input system and you're gonna have an UI system that's grid based. So that's supplemental. That's stuff you can do afterwards. But what we're going to be focusing on is we're going to make a core engine, an input system, a visual render, a state machine, and a physics engine. It can be any genre you want. I'm only going to be focused because most of what I'm going to be doing is just giving you the engine, and then you can make a mini game out of it. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably keep it bare bones. One screen only, no panning, stuff like that. The multi-threading part is a bonus. So that's after, multi-threading happens after you make everything object-oriented. So after we make it, after we make it object-oriented, you can do multi-threading on C level if you want, or you can use C++. Either way works. We're gonna have the code on a GitHub, and you could, if you want, make your own docs, or you can just make comments. Comments are also good enough. By doing an engine, the reason an engine's important is it gives you an idea of the importance of design, which to me, in my opinion, is like undervalued by the curriculum. So I really don't care about, you guys are going to learn, if you take CS, you're going to learn data structures, all the algorithm shit that you would ever want to know, but they will never show you how to do design. So that's mostly what I'll focus on here. You can learn all that stuff from Wikipedia and reading their shit and getting a reference it from there. I don't think that's something you have to learn through practice. I think it's just something you have to reference when you need it, in my opinion. It's more like a tool but what's more important is how you build that tool, in my opinion. Because I don't think anyone can do that. At least most of the people I know of, they can't build the tool, but they know how to use other people's tools, and that's it. So, yeah, and then basically, it's part of generalizing structures and doing abstractions in code without having the tool set. So C, that's the benefit of C, is you'll be forced to learn how to make abstract structures because there's a lot it doesn't do for you. So that's the project. Is there anything else? Yeah, at the end of this, you'll have a final project on GitHub, and you can choose whatever you want to do after that. I have plenty of other projects if you're interested in my shit, or if yeah, if you want extra practice, I got too much. And my original approximate time that I had on this thing is 6 months, but it depends. Hazer can kind of get it done again in 3 months. You have already some exposure, so maybe 5 months. This was mostly this write up I did was for Justin, so for him it was 6. So yeah, that's the entire summary of the basically this project meta. So from there, we still have half time. I guess I gotta say, do you have Visual Studio already?
I don't have 2019. It would be nice if I could do that, but
I don't have it either.
which one do you have? Like,
Hello? Uh-oh.
Brr.
Brr, brr, brr.
Anyways, if we both has 2017, fuck it, I'll do 2017.
Yeah, oh, he's there, he's there. I just can't hear him, but he's there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm obviously gonna give you this here. I didn't finish it. I was in the middle of doing it, but I kind of mixed in the old one, so it's still accurate. That's gonna be important because that's gonna be the first file we fuck with in Visual Studio. Because that's how I introduce you to something called Vim. I'm not gonna force you to use Vim, but I'm gonna force you to install it.
Are you?
Yeah,
Alright, fine. Why?
because I regret every day that I didn't use it.
Wow.
So I could install Visual Studio 2019 with you guys if you want. You get it from Visual Studio, so don't worry about it. Yeah, you first thing we need is Visual Studio. I rather get that in case unless you want to do ShareX first. It's up to you. Which one do you want to do, ShareX or Visual Studio? Yeah, now I can. So, yeah, it's up to you. I can bring it up. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, just use 2019. I'll get it right now. I have to get it eventually, so I'll just have both for now. I don't care. What I'm wondering is, so you already, okay, you already have that open. So let me get there, because I'm gonna do it with you right now. Continue. It's probably downloading the 2019 installer because I already have this technically. So yeah, if you're wondering what this was off for, this is, oh, by the way, oh, that's right. That's the last, while we're doing this, the things I don't know. I don't know much assembly. I never went down that far. I know basic stuff. I know how to boot an OS from it because I was learning some OS level stuff with assembly. I know the assembly languages that exist, and I kind of have an idea of how that works because of computer system fundamentals and fucking with FASM. So any really low level shit that you can do efficient wise in C, I don't know, but you don't need that for what we're doing. And I really don't think you need to learn assembly because they kind of cheat hardware-wise with how they do things. They don't even do things ideally how mathematicians thought about doing programming because they're trying to abuse a bunch of physical properties of the hardware to get as fast as possible computations down. So that's why C is as low as it gets technically. Other things I don't know. I didn't do... Because assembly languages are usually provided by the hardware provider. They're the ones who design it. Yeah. Exactly. So AMD has their opcode translations to assembly. Intel has their own assembly languages. Microsoft made their own assembly from theirs that's less shitty and has more macro support. It's called MASM. There's also NASM. And basically MASM, NASM, FASM, what they do is they basically make cross-platform support times 8664 for basic operating systems and all that stuff. They're basically like a conglomerate assembly language, so it kind of makes like a universal assembly language, but not really. So I'm pretty sure, like for example, NASM, NASM is one of the more popular ones. It translates to times 8664, ARM, and you name your modern processor, I'm pretty sure it supports it. So it kind of universalizes it there. So you don't have to write for a specific hardware platform at assembly level, technically, if you used something like that. But then they have their own little quirks that you have to memorize, so people don't like that. So they're like, fuck that, give me C. And technically speaking, this is more computer science-y side, advanced side. I didn't want to go there yet. But there's something called invariance, and C is invariant to assembly, which basically means that everything you do in C should be just as fast as doing it assembly if you did it right. Except for a few exceptions, where you can do some real bullshit hackery memory with assembly. So, yeah. I'm here now. C++ can do things that C can't do technically, and now like you can make compile time constants, but technically you can do that with C, but it's just like you would have to make a program to get your compile time constant and then write it into your code. So it's a little bit more work, I guess you can say, than just having it do it at runtime, compile time for you, and doing all that work automatically, I guess you can say. But technically everything you can do in C you can do in C++ you can do in C. It's just much more painful. Again, because you can build everything off of C. You want to build Prolog, it was made in C. You want to make Python, it was made in C. You want to make C#, it was made in C. And what's called .NET assembly. So yeah, that's why I say this should be a foundational language. Like, I don't know why the fuck they do programming 1 in Java when C's stupid easy. Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did buy it. Yeah, you're right. Thank your local company. So, yeah. So, I'm here now. So, if you guys are here, you keep the language packs the same. You might want to change your install locations. I definitely will be, because I want to put it on my M.2 for obvious reasons. If you don't know what an M.2 is, it's much faster. Much faster. Okay, Visual Studio's here, so I'm gonna put it's 5 times faster than an SSD. I don't know. I don't know how much faster an SSD than a hard drive is. I think a hard drive's like around 120 megs max, and a SSD on a SATA is like a 500 megabytes, while my M.2 hits around 2.5 to 3 gigabytes per second. 2019, I'll just put it here. I don't know why I didn't name that 2017, but whatever. Really? Wait. That's the Microsoft junctions. Oh no, there's no Microsoft junctions? What? Oh no, there has to be. Hold on a second. There's got to be something in there. Am I not using this anymore? Oh, I'm not. Okay. Did I put them in here? Oh, they're here. They're fast, but yeah, mine wasn't cheap. The only reason I bought it was because of the big ass projects. Yeah. Yeah, I honestly speaking, you won't notice it. The only reason I use it is because of Myron's bullshit. Where we have a project that it's like 300 gigabytes in size, and it takes like 20 minutes to load a fucking level. I hate that. Yeah. Be careful. So that they're not all SSDs are the same, and that means the same thing for M.2s. They can use cheaper NAND that can go bad earlier. I mean, if do you okay? Wait a moment. Do you have an M.2 slot? Do you have a? If you don't, do you have? Wait. If you don't, do you have a PCI Express slot? If you have an open PCI Express slot, you can hook it up. You can mount an M.2 adapter to it. I did that with my brother. He has a 100 GB M.2 that he's using for Photoshop and stuff. So his old computer can use it, for example. You don't need to get a new motherboard. Yeah, you can an M.2. Yeah, if you still have an open PCI Express slot. Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, yeah, you could if you wanted to. Oh, that's fine. It's not a piece of shit. All right, so back to because we don't have that much time left. I don't know. We have 20 minutes. So we're doing this the same way we did the VS tutorial. So basically, just change it to your install location. Make sure you don't install any workloads because we're just going to see if it works off the bat because sometimes it doesn't. And if you did install a workload, it might tell you to restart. So by just installing it as is, it'll tell you you don't want to install a workload. I'm going to be like, yeah, just continue. And it's going to say, thank you for installing. Don't take the server because I don't feel like it right now. And it's going to download and verify. And yeah, it should be a very fast download because, again, you're only downloading the workspace, not the actual things you need. Not yet. Yeah, the same way we did in the mock tutorial. I don't know if, yeah. Because I have to introduce him to Visual Studio 2, like properly introduce, because you may have used it, but you haven't really used it. I have a 5-minute video that can also review that for you, but we're kind of going to go over it already. So I got an unknown error. Oh shit. It doesn't look like it did anything to me though. Let me know if you guys get that. I got an unknown error, but it didn't look like it screwed me, so just let me know if you get anything weird. I'm gonna update my old Visual Studio while I'm at it. How big is this thing? I gotta junction up my stuff more. With what money? Oh my god. No, not for Visual Studio. No. Oh no, if I have to, if hard drives are cheap, I'll buy another hard drive. I'm fine with that. I'm about to buy one because my Hitachi is nearing 7 years old, so that 2 terabyte is in need for a refurb. Oh. That's some hardcore. That's little did you know that they upgraded Tamagotchis to be fully AR. I got mine on my HoloLens and everything. So yeah, it's a hard drive brand. They're one of the big ones. Anyways, how's it going for you guys? It's watching. Got it. Oh yeah, so you're gonna put not now, but wait for Haczar. You're gonna need it eventually. You need to connect to Microsoft to it, or else it won't let you use it. It's free. It's just that it wants to collect data off you because you're using it for free. No, it's for collect money off you. Collect money. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna open mine up. Oh, I'm getting an unknown error. Well, shit. Uh, um, wait, you didn't get it, Hazer? Oh, that's good. But let me just see if I can fix this real quick. If I can't, then I'm gonna give it a minute or two, and that's it. Uh, it's because I did. Oh, that sucks. Okay, what's wrong here? Oh, that sucks. Really? Unable to initialize? Come on. Are you serious? It's not able to, Oh, it's just administrator. That's okay. It was just because it wasn't able to do the registry access. So I was like, wait, did it fail to give itself permission? Are you serious? And it did. So I'm gonna just add that right now. I mean, like, rip anyone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. It's just so yeah, it already knew who I was, so it signed me in. So just say not now. You're gonna get this. I just realized that all my mock footage is obsolete now because I have to do the entire thing over for 2019. So yeah, just press not now if you're there, and then yeah, press dark theme. Save yourself the misery. Press dark theme, and then you're gonna be visited by this thing. Press continue without code. If it doesn't... Oh, dark mode. General. Yeah, just general and dark mode. And it's gonna prepare you for first use, and then eventually you'll see yeah, press continue without code, because I want to introduce you to the environment. So this is upgraded from Visual 2017, but it's nearly the same thing. Where is he? You're already there. Because you had 2017. Yeah. So, yeah, this is Visual Studio. They use a fully modular, fully modular UI, so you can drag and drop shit everywhere, anywhere you want. So, Solution Explorer can be here. You can move it around. You can minimize it, auto hide it. I like to auto hide it. You can open up any window. You can float it, so you can have it floating around too, so you don't have to dock it. And you can put it to a different screen if you wanted to. There's a lot of options. You can also pin it, so if you want to prioritize one over the other, you can do that, and this will stay permanently there. If you set up your options right, you can make it remember your pins, so even if you close it, it'll remember the pins. It's pretty sick that way. Auto hide that. Me either. Same. But yeah, that's... Oh, it's telling you to sign in? Okay. No problem. Yeah, I'll just go over... It's your same thing. You, the file, what they call this thing, it's, menu button, or a menu plane button. So the file menu is just your regular stuff for opening. You can open projects and solutions. Solutions are basically multiple projects for one specific thing. So projects are basically like you pick a language and it's organized around that app, but you can have multiple projects that like work together, that can be different apps that work together for one specific solution, I guess you can say. So that's why they call it that. So you can also have multiple of the same project but just different versions, and you can control the versioning that way. There's a lot of things you can do. You can also open up folders, files. The difference between this and code is code doesn't have a lot of stuff for you. This has a bunch of stuff built in and you can download. It's insane. So your edit is mostly for text editing. That's where all that stuff is. So, you know, undo, redo, copy, cut, paste. Your view is basically every single window not related to debug that you can open. So Solution Explorer, Team Explorer, your bookmarks, if you have any, class view. So that's like an overview of all the classes. If you were doing an object-oriented thing, I don't think you have that in C. Or actually, you might. I want to say you won't. You have your code definition, which is basically for documentation. Your object browser, which is basically viewing your instantiated objects at runtime, I'm pretty sure. Error list is stuff that'll get populated when you compile and you have problems. Your output is what's going on at compile time. I like to move it to the left. You can put it wherever you want because I already showed you can do it whatever you want with the UI. So yeah, it's all this stuff is there. You can experiment. Where you can find all the detailed nitty-gritty information on this is if you go to MSDN Visual Studio 2019. It's all there. They have a bunch of docs. Just gotta look around for it. Support, I guess. Where's their docs? I mean, I found them somewhere because I was looking for all their docs for, yeah, offline help documentation. Here we go. So they have the help viewer, and if you go here, you can filter from this documentation everything. So here we go. That's it. Let me link that over here in Discord. And I'll put that in the main chat because, yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's all there. So anything I miss or something you want to figure out, that's not that big a deal. It's all here. And they have it for every big workload module that they have. And I'll go over workload soon. So that's Windows. Your tools. So basically this is where you handle add-ons, I guess you can say, and extensions. So if you go to get tools and features, your workloads will pop up, right? And that's the workloads you saw before. There's also this other, actually they changed it because it used to be under tools. Now they have extensions as a separate tab. So your we're gonna add a workload soon, but let's close that for now. So on extensions, you can add, if you go online, you can find a bunch of extensions. So you can integrate GitHub into Visual Studios, just like Visual Studio Code has its plugins. It's the same shit. So one that we're gonna be getting after we get the workload is the VS Vim, that baby over here. We'll get that afterwards. So yeah, let's, your options menu is also under tools, and that has all the advanced options for your thing, and this changes based on what workloads you have installed. So your account information, your general information, your project and solution settings, all that stuff is here, and your text editor information. This is gonna have a crap ton of stuff inside of it as soon as we get some C stuff in here. Customize lets you change like how your width of these things, all the stuff like the width of these bars, where these things are placed, that what's visible, all that's in your customize. So insane amount. Yeah, it's fully customizable. Something you can't do in Visual Studio Code. It's fully customizable. They have modify selection. You can change the style of things. I'm not going to do it. I like the way they do it. So, but that's all there. You can also import and export settings. So let's say you want to save it just in case it doesn't sync up with your account and you want to back it up. You can do it here. You can also import my settings if you want them. Let's say I have some nice highlighting, color highlighting that you want. It's there. And also they also have the help option here, and you can view help from this thing too. So that didn't bring it up the docs, you can go there. It can show you your current Windows open from the Windows tab under Windows. And yeah, that's basically the most part there. So now we're going to get a workload. So if you go to your workloads thing, we're going to be selecting desktop development with C++ only. And we're going to remove a few things, I think. We can actually, no, we'll keep live share. Take out the test adapter for Google Test. We'll keep the, we can remove the boost one too. We'll remove the Windows 10. Oh, it has CMake. Okay, never mind. I'll keep that. Which one is it using? 142? That's fine. Everything here is good. It's only gigabyte, right? 3.44. This is the big. Yeah, that's the big one. So this is gonna give you everything you need. Actually, we don't need seed make. Let me see if I can make this a little bit smaller. We don't need to do that. And we don't need to do this. I made it a little bit smaller. We want this, and we want that. So yeah, keep. How big is this thing? We'll keep that. So yeah, have these 4. That's all we really need. And we should be good from there. So just press the modify button, and it'll automatically add the stuff. It's gonna tell you to close your Visual Studio too. So yeah, that'll take probably the rest of the time that we have because we're 5 minutes left. But yeah, I guess. Oh, that's no problem. Which one of the 4? It is. Hold on, I can tell him. Let me just open him up. Wait, where are you? Oh, there we go. The MSVC 142, just-in-time debugger, C++ profiling tools, and everything else is removed except for live share. Oh wait, was IntelliCode not selected? Highlight over that. I want to see what it says. Yes, yep. IntelliSense. Oh yeah, I have to modify mine. That's gonna help you a ton. Yeah, we definitely need that. I don't know why. You might already have it from 2017. Maybe that's why I didn't show it to us. Hold on, I'm gonna check mine real quick and see. You're right, it's not on ours. Okay, whatever. That's weird. All right, so if you open up Visual Studio, you should be good, and you should see. God damn it. You already know it works. On yours probably. Let me just get this thing to run again. Okay. Continue without code, and now you should see a bunch of new windows on your Visual Studio. And 2019 didn't need me to restart. Wow. I'm surprised. Did it need you guys to restart? Oh, you guys. Oh, yeah. No problem. I gotta. Yeah. I guess if you want to preview, since we're about to end, is you get this debug thing now. Your options change completely. You get a bunch of. You should get a new Windows to use. Yeah, you can see how much bigger the options menu is now. It has all this extra stuff now. What? You're talking about the extensions? Oh, that's up to you, to be honest. I don't know what the default is on 2019, so we have to see. Oh, well, we're not going to even be using it, to be honest, because remember, I'm going to be abstracting pointers a bit to macros. To be honest, so I'm not really worried about that. So I guess the last thing, if you guys want to do it, because we only have one installation left, and that's the where is it? Yeah, the ShareX. So ShareX is the multimedia thing. So it's this thing right here. It's actually a pain in the ass to install. So I'm gonna try to export my settings. So let me see if I can. Okay, so nice. So that you need to configure a few things like your hotkeys, your image uploader. There's two image uploaders. One of them is a little bit memey, but there's a reason I use it. The other one's Imgur. So you need to have an Imgur account so that you can upload automatically, like I was doing. It can automate uploading of GIFs, MP4s, and other stuff to Imgur. But Imgur has a size limit. If you want to get something really big uploaded, like up to 200 megabytes, you need something called Catbox. So Catbox, the reason I use this is for free. And yeah, it doesn't care what it is, 200 megabytes up. And it supports ShareX perfectly fine. In fact, I can right click right now and show you. I can go here, destinations, change it to my custom uploader. If I didn't fuck up. There we go. Screenshot. And come on, there you are. Done. That's how fast it is. So even with the different one, and I can just switch it back to Imgur like this. You can change your hotkeys here. So I use Control-Shift-4, and then for GIFs I use Control-Shift-5, and for MP4s I use Control-Shift-6. So that's how I do it. You can modify settings with it when you click on the little thing there. I also have a full guide to this. I can paste to you. I was also gonna share my settings in case that would make it easier. There we go. And the only thing I would ask is that you changed obviously the uploader so that you don't use my uploader. Where did it go? I thought I uploaded it. Where did I put it? Yeah. Well, actually, no, but you should in case you want to keep track of things. It went to my docs. Oh, let me just upload it. Here you go. So if you want my settings, you just have to import that. So you go to you right click on ShareX right here. You go to application settings. So that looks like this in case you want to still. And then you go to import settings here. And you just have to find the file that you downloaded from Discord, and it will automatically set all your settings to mine. And then from that point forward, change your ShareX stuff, your destination stuff. So that's under here. Oh, that's a GIF, damn it. Change those to your credentials, essentially, and that's it. If you're using the Catbox one, you gotta just change your user hash here to yours. When you make your account, you can find a user hash that you can do, and that's it. Alright, and that's the 1 hour mark. So that's everything for today, which gets us started and setting up. And then next time I can actually get the project started, we can get, I guess, Hello World going. Kinda. Yeah, we can do that. I'm gonna do a little bit differently than they do it in Programming 3 though, because they were using too many high-level objects. Nice, we kept that under an hour for the most part. Yeah, that's, I guess that was the fourth time I've done this, so it helps that way too. we're basically going to be using this. I didn't mention that. This is basically a draft form of what we're going to be doing in TBF for our C series, because we're going to make a tutorial set series with our own content that we want to upload to someplace, Udemy, YouTube, whatever. And basically, we're going to make high production value videos. So this is our shitty mock version of a Visual Studio tutorial I can show you, for example. I did it for class, so keep that in mind. I did this within class time, and it came out like this. And let me see if I can find it. That's not it. I think it's in production meta. Yeah. So this was an old video from technical writing class. I had to cut out a bunch of stuff. We have more. A lot more. It was supposed to be a 40-minute vid that introduced you to Visual Studio from scratch, like as if you didn't know shit. That's the start of that. And I would go over everything Visual Studio wise. So we were going to do the same thing for other stuff. So we're going to do one for Unreal, one for C. Basically different than what we see from other tutorial videos. So again, using the top-down constructive way of doing things. So I'll give you a top-down of what you're doing and then slowly construct what you need to build off of, so you learn everything that way. The benefit of it is it kind of shows you why you needed the other stuff, and you don't forget it easily. And it constantly makes you realize that you're constantly using it. So even though you're passively memorizing it, by the time you're done, you're forced to know it without you having to waste your time reading flashcards to have remembered it, because that's not really practical. So yeah, that's the benefit of this format. So we have a bunch of tutorial options. Got them here. So I was going to do one for Firefly 3, C#, C++, C, stuff we could find that really needed it. Unreal is one we can do. Unity we can do. Rust was another thing. And we were going to basically separate it. So we're going to have an in-depth series. And basically that's going to be our main one that we do first, I guess. Then we would make a simple series off that only does what you need to know to get started, to get your feet wet. But we would tell you what you're ignoring by doing so. So like you would still at least know your limitations or what you should have gone over if you wanted to go ham. And then we would have a snippet series that we would get for like let's say you wanted to just open a project properly for some reason or do something. It would just be snippeted off the in-depth version like into a 5-minute video. So that's basically where this came from, I guess you can say. So this is kind of like an early draft format of me trying out a full series, but live. And then I would use that to make the full script for the real one. Yeah. No problem. So yeah, that's just setup. Your share should be good. You can test it by showing us some screenshots. You're probably going to be using it a lot more now because it's going to shit on everyone else probably uses the snipping tool. And that's it. So I'm not, it's on what, the text file? Yeah, I know. It is? Oh man. Did I spell your name wrong? Oh. let me fix that actually. You know, she still gave me 100. This is technical writing class. She still gave me 100. I would have wished you did, because then I would have actually realized it after taking. I just passed this class with a fucking A+. And she didn't tell me that I spelled instructional wrong. Jeez, I paid like $800 for the class. You couldn't tell me I did it. God damn it.